And welcome back, everyone. Welcome back. We are here with our final best of 5 of the night. We are nearing the end. We are slowly just getting rid of players one after the other, and this is another elimination match. We just wrapped up the upper bracket finals with Kure versus Bjorn. If you're a fan of Bjorn, do not worry. Bjorn is still in this tournament. Bjorn is waiting for the winner of this very series of Serral versus Maru. Bit of a shame that it isn't the finals, but of course they are at least facing off in a best of 5. You love to see it. Arguably the best Zerg and Terran players in the world right now. They are amazing at what they do. They're incredible at StarCraft, but there can be only one victor. And if you're in the chat, predictions are open. Predictions are open, so it's up to you here to decide on who you think is going to 3-0. We've had nothing but 3-0s tonight, and is that going to continue to be the case, or will we break the tradition here? Will we be able to break the mold and actually have a back and forth, a 3-1, a 3-2, maybe? No. I hope so. Personally, I would love to get more of Serral versus Maru, but we'll see. We'll see if we can break the trend here between just all the matches tonight for Masters Coliseum. Can we break the curse? Here we go. Spawning in the bottom left-hand corner of Royal Blood, we have the Finnish Zerg player representing Team Basilisk. Ooh, going for a 15-hatch opener. It is Serral. And spawning in the top right-hand corner of Royal Blood, representing Onside Gaming, it is Maru. Here we go. The last Zerg player in the tournament, surrounded by a sea of Terrans, Maru, Bjorn, Kure. They're all waiting for Serral to go on a deep run all the way to the finals. Can he pull it off? So far, it's going to be a 15-15 opener from from Serral, up against a 2-Rax opener from Maru. Okay, so talking about the builds a little bit here. Serral, with this opener, he's going to have faster queens, and he's going to be able to even skip lings here if he defends against a 2-Rax. If Maru commits and he throws down a 3rd Rax, and that does complicate things a little bit more. But essentially, Serral, he's going for faster queens in lieu of later gas, as his gas is going to be quite delayed here compared to a standard opener that a Zerg would usually be going for. Later gas means later ling speed, and that means he's going to have a harder time shutting down a 3-Rax opener with Mass Reaper. As we can see, it's only going to be 2 Raxes from Maru, so it's a bit of a gamble. It can be punished, but our Serral should be okay. Meanwhile, Maru, if you haven't been watching too much of StarCraft recently, Maru and Bjorn, they actually formulated and they really popularized this 2-Rax opener. Bjorn more so popularized it. They both whipped it out at DreamHack Atlanta last year, I think in November of last year, and they both were able to, come up with it and utilize it quite well. But Bjorn is the player who refined it. Bjorn is the player who just went with it and just went ham over the past 6 months. The entire year of StarCraft, essentially he has been really working out the quirks, finding the strengths and weaknesses where you can get away with, all the efficient transitions that you can go with this opener as well. So Bjorn has really been testing the build out and really stress testing it. I think it's probably the best way to put it. This opener, and he's found so many different kind of transitions and the advantages and how to defend against all-ins. It's been really cool to see this build really rise into prominence in TVZ. Meanwhile, Serral, he does dip into the main base. He confirms the factory follow-up. Meanwhile, it's only going to be 3 Reapers. Only 3 Reapers. From here, Maru should be working on his add-ons. Ooh, actually, okay, very interesting. Maru delays his add-ons. He's going to be punished for it, though. We do have that SCV taking a lot of hits. But he delays his add-ons in favor of a faster 3rd CC. And there we go. It is going to be scouted. It is going to be confirmed. Serral fully aware of the 3CC 2-1-1 opener of Maru. And he's even able to disrupt the production here of his bases. Oh my god, and the response is 2-base Roach. We opened up with a 15-15 to begin with. We had late gas to begin with, And Serral is looking to skip Link Speed entirely. Who cares about Link Speed when we have Roaches on the way, a Lair on the way as well. So Serral is going for a very heavy Roach play instead. This isn't going to be an all-in, but he's going to have a lot of Roaches nonetheless, and Maru's going to have to respect that. As the Reapers do dive into the main base, they get one drone. They're going to get a second drone as well. Oh, God. They barely do get a second worker. But the Queens, they shut this down. Now we can talk about the build itself. So, something that we have learned over time is that specifically, the 3CC211 variation of a 2-Rax opener from Maru is weak against Roach timings. The reason for this is because tanks are heavily delayed. But I appreciate this from Maru. Instead of going for a medevac, instead of prioritizing medevacs with this starport, he's going for a Banshee first. This Banshee will help so much when it comes to the Roaches, and Maru already scouted this. Like, he scouted the lair in the main base, and I believe he was able to get eyes on the Roach Horn as well. So being aware of the Roaches does give him the opportunity to go into Banshees already. Meanwhile, Serral, he's committing very hard to this. Roaches and Queens are waddling across the map, and this is looking like an all-in from Serral. He has a third base on the way, but he is not going to be saturating it. He's committing here instead. And the first tank is just now in production for Maru. Bunker is on the way on the low ground. Maru, he's getting ready for this. He does get eyes on the push with that Reaper. And the Banshee has arrived. It's already chipping away at these Ravagers. Again, there's just so much power in this Banshee defensively. Does force one of the Ravagers to be cancelled. That first tank is seconds away from finishing. And Serral is droning behind this. Okay, so Serral isn't all in. He's already transitioning. It looks like because Serral got scouted, he's aware that he won't be able to kill his opponent, but he is at least disrupting the production and taking down the tech lab. So honestly, a really good start here for Serral. He may not kill Maru, but again, he's slowing down combat shields. You know, he's slowing down any kind of marine production as well. He's containing Maru to 2 bases. He forced out some more bunkers. Behind this, Serral, he's backing off and he's droning. He is saturating his third. Oh, and I love this, even using those Overlords to spread creep. Throwing down some tumors. Getting a contamination on the eBay as well. And with this creep, Serral is going to make it that much more difficult for Maru to actually expand and take that third. Now, when it comes to the timings here for Serral, I do think that he has a very strong 1-1 timing with his Roaches, and I do think that he can break the third base, depending on the tank count of Maru. But as we can see, Serral, he's thinking further ahead. Sure, he's got 1-1 on the way, and they're about to kick in, but he's also got an Infestation Pit. And this tells us, as well as the Baneling Nest, this tells us that Serral, he's looking for a longer game, he's looking for a later game. The Infestation Pit will grant him access to Infestors for fungal growths, and he can also tech up into Hive. And there we go, we are going straight into Hive from here. This will be for Adrenal Glands. Eventually, Serral does want to transition out of Roach Ravager, and he can seamlessly transition into Hydra Lurker. The range upgrades do allow for that to happen. So his Lurkers will actually be pretty well upgraded by the time he gets there. I should say Hydra Lurker Viper. With those Vipers to support. Meanwhile, Maru, he's focusing on denying all of this creep. Link speed now on the way. The drop play of Maru has potential, but as we can see, Serral, he's in position. He doesn't have too many Roaches in the main, though. Oh, did not take this seriously enough, and he is going to be losing control of the main. Drones are going down. Good target firing coming in from Maru. And he does get eyes on the Hive. Maru able to get a scout on what's going on. As he is forced back. Now behind this, Maru, he is now finally getting his third base up and running. And again, because Serral is taking up, I don't think he really intends to punish the third too much. I think he's content to just allow Maru to expand. This time more Roaches are in position, and Serral, he's going to be able to keep up with the drops. There we go, Vipers are on the way. No additional tech structures yet. There's Adrenal Glands, there's +1 melee. So again, Serral, he is going to be morphing his army into a more Ling Bane Roach Ravager based composition, not as heavy with the Roach Ravager overall. But Serral is not going for Hydras. I would say that there was the opportunity for him to tech up into Hydras and Lurkers, but that is not what we're seeing. Serral instead just going Lingbane Roach Ravager, which again is a lot more solid, especially in the mid game. It is a safer way to play this out. And, you know, you want to respect Maru. Maru, he's so damn good. So it doesn't want to cut any corners against him. Maru's going to be cleaning up a lot of this creep. Serral has maxed out. Now, this max out is a little bit deceptive. This is inflated supply because of the Roach Ravager. So we can have comparable armies, especially if the tanks are set up. Meanwhile, we can see Maru already working on a Ghost Academy, already working on Ghost production. Ultra Cavern is on the way from Serral. Oh my god. Serral. Okay. Ready for that Ultra transition. Drop is going to be keeping him busy for now. But Serral is max, and I do imagine he wants to try to punish the 4th base of Maru. But the drop is keeping Serral busy. And it's just making it difficult here for Serral to be active and to try to move out across the map. He does want to, and here we go. We do see the main army rotating over towards the 4th base of Maru. Now, what does Maru have in position? That is the question. He has tanks. He has 3 tanks here at his 3rd, but what does he have covering the 4th? Meanwhile, the Bio Army going to push towards the 4th base of Serral. Getting a couple of drones. But there's only 2 tanks kind of in range there. This planetary is going to go down. Maru just doesn't have enough supply here to defend his fringe bases, to defend his 4th. And this may have cost Serral some roaches, but that's okay. He wants to throw away the roaches. He wants to get rid of them. He wants to replace them with Lings and Banelings. Meanwhile, Maru throwing down 4 CCs. Oh my god. He's going to expand one way or another. He's going to get a 4th base up and running. 5 CCs being thrown down at once. Meanwhile, Serral pushing on forward. He has the Vipers, blinding clouds on the sides. The Ghosts! Ghosts are looking a little bit exposed, and the Banelings, they do crash on forward. The mineral line is going to go down as well, as every single tank will fall. 14 SCVs go down. We do see a drop across stuff. That's a kill, not a cancel on the CC. Roaches, they come in from behind. Serral, he wants those Ghosts, and he's going to get them. He's going to get some of them. 5 of them escape, but GG gets called. It's just too much, and Serral takes game number 1. GG. Oh my god. Again, in full control of that game with the initial 2-base Roach. It maybe took Maru a little bit too long to recognize what was happening, to really set up back at home. I do know that against those kind of all-ins, Bjorn does prepare a little bit differently with bunkers in front of the production. So that's like a precaution you have to take here. So if you're wondering why does Bjorn throw down those bunkers in front of his Raxes on the low ground, the reason for that is because you have to protect your upgrades. You have to protect your stim and your combat shields. Just because if they do get delayed, then that slows down how active you can be on the map with your bio army. So that's why Bjorn goes for that kind of defense. I don't know if that would be possible here, considering the amount or how committed Serral was, especially with the queens. So I don't know if even that would be possible, but yeah, that's why like Serral even denying those upgrades and denying the production from those 2 Raxes was enough here to get Serral ahead and to maintain control of that game. It's such a big deal for those 2 Raxes to be doing nothing for so long, to have to slowly lift up and float into the main base, for combat shields to be denied as well. Like that just takes so much of the wind out of the sails of a 2-on-1. So yeah, Maru, he was kind of on the back foot. He couldn't really be too active, and yeah, Serral was able to take that game. And we'll see if the trend continues. Serral, he's got 1 point on the board, and if it's going to be a 3-0, things are looking a little bit bleak for Maru. But as we get into our next game, I'm sure Maru can have more success, especially on a map like Dragon Scales. Now, the difference between Dragon Scales and Royal Blood is the natural. The natural has a ramp, which means you require high ground vision if you want to commit, if you want to push up it. Meanwhile, in the top left-hand corner of Dragon Scales, we have the Finnish Zerg player for Team Basilisk, Serral. And spawning in the bottom right-hand corner, we have his opponent. We have the South Korean Terran representing Onside Gaming, Maru. See, there's no mass ultra. Unfortunately, we didn't quite get into the ultras. Feels bad, man. Feels bad. It was on the horizon, but Serral did not need them, as Serral is going for a hatch gas pool. Meanwhile, Maru is going for a Rax expand. Okay, here we go. Maru going for a much more standard old school opener. The 2 Rax opener has been very trendy over the past, what, 9 months? But Maru, he's avoiding that entirely, going for what used to be standard. Meanwhile, Serral likewise going for a hatch gas pool here on Dragon Scales. Now, this means that Serral, he won't necessarily be rushing into roaches again. Something interesting following Serral's play is that he has been very roach heavy in ZvT. It's been very common, especially on some of these smaller maps. Maps like Babylon, maps like Dragon Scales as well. Serral has been known to open up roach just to be safe. Like, roaches and ravagers, they provide you so much more defensive capabilities when you're up against a tank heavy push, especially around like the 6 or 7 minute mark. It is like a very safe way to play. It's a little bit difficult to be too assertive, especially in the early game, but it's something that Serral has been very fond of, and we'll see if that trend continues here in game number 2. Raynor has been following suit. Not as much. He hasn't fallen in love with the roaches as much as Serral, but yeah, he has been doing it a little bit more frequently. As the first Reaper does make its way into the main base, looking for a drone. So far, unable to get one as the Lings do rotate on into the main. And the Queens are about to pop out. This Reaper shouldn't find any kills here, as Serral does defend, and he does take his 3rd hatchery. Meanwhile, back at home, Maru is going for a very fast 3rd CC. That's going to be a 3rd CC before Starport, even midst production with that factory. So a very economic opener here from Maru. Wants to get into a longer game in a good economic position. And, oh, it's going to be a 3cc 2-on-1. A 3cc with 2 Raxes. So Maru, he is going to have a little bit less map control. Because of this opener, he's going to have, I believe, 4 Hellions before he has to add-on swap. So he's going to have a little bit of control with those Hellions, but he won't have the potential to dive into a mineral line. He can't really punish the Queens or really fight the creep too much. So Serral is going to have a little bit more freedom here in the early game. But what Maru lacks in, map control is going to make up for with a stim timing, with a double drop. That's going to be later on down the line. Meanwhile, the Hellions do rock up, and they're going to be able to apply a bit of pressure here, but again, not too much. This is really just to try to keep the creep at bay. Maru shouldn't be looking to get into a mineral line just because he has so little to work with. It's only 4 Hellions. There's that add-on swap, and now Maru is going to be working towards, again, the sim timing with 2 medevacs with 16 Marines. Of course, that is going to be hitting a little bit later, so until then, Serral, he can drone. He can just rely on Queens to defend. He doesn't have to make too many Lings. He doesn't have to invest too hard. As he's getting into this, getting into his Evo chamber, Hellions are going to be threatening the natural, and Maru is going to dive in just for a moment, only getting 1 drone. Doesn't commit. Oh. That's a scary moment, though. As we do see, looking at the vision there, Serral, he saw everything he needed to. He saw the timing of that 2nd Rax, so he's fully aware of the 3cc 2-on-1, which is why he's prioritizing Carapace. Again, this is the most important upgrade here in this matchup. Carapace does give the Ling Bane that much more defensive capability against Marines, as that upgrade does apply to every shot from said Marine. Serral, he's just going to be saturating his 3rd base. Queens are keeping up with the Hellions. And Maru is working on a 1-1 timing here with his upgrades. E-bays are now done. And the medevacs, I believe, are out. So he can finally be active on the map with a more threatening force with his Marines. here at the 5-minute 30-ish mark, 5:40 even. As he moves out, Serral, he's fully aware of the timing that a 3cc 2-on-1 hits, so we already have Lings in production. Queens are getting in position as well. Serral is aware of what's coming his way, and he shouldn't really lose too much here, as long as his transfuses are on point. Yeah, immediately, Maru, he scans, he sees the position, and he respects Serral enough where he will back off. At the same time, a bit of a Ling run by. Thankfully, the Hellions were kept alive from the early game, so Maru, he defends. Does swat those Lings away. And now we're getting into the mid-game at this point. As Serral, he's getting his 4th up and running. Maru, he's getting a 5-rack setup in his main. 5 racks is for 3 bases is the standard. That's what we expect to be seeing. And we have Ling Bane versus Bio. Let's go. Let's go. You love to see it. It's also important to bear in mind as well that Maru, he's building up a tank count, and he should be working towards a big push in 30 or so seconds. With his Marines, with his tanks as well. Second factory already on the way. And Maru has been doing a decent job at denying creep here on the left-hand side. Even delays the 5th base. The Hellions are being cleaned up. And instead of moving out, Maru, he throws down a 4th command center. Okay. 4th command center alongside that 2nd factory. So it looks like Maru, he's just building up his forces. He's going to be keeping his tanks at home, and he's only being active with his Marines. So Maru, he just wants to get into a solid mid-game, a solid 4-base economy. You can see him switching into Widowmine production. Marines are looking to deny this 5th base, but they are spotted by Serral. So he does see them ahead of time. And Maru is going to be threatening a drop into the main, but Serral likewise is in position with his Lings, working on 2-2. We should be seeing an infestation pit if we don't have one already for Serral. And yeah, Serral, he's just looking so comfortable this game. Maru, his opener, it's just been really passive from him. He's been testing the waters here and there, but he hasn't committed, and it's just allowed Serral to drone up to 80, get his 4 bases. We do have another drop on the right-hand side. So Maru is now being a little bit more active, but Serral, he has plenty of creep. He keeps up with it. The drop shouldn't get too much damage done. Yeah, Serral is just chasing it down. Do you have a more committed push? Mindshot does go off. Oh my god. Very good with Mindshot on those Lings, on those Banelings. Meanwhile, the drop does come into the main base. Oof, with the friendly fire. Medevac goes down. Serral cleans it up. So even though he took a big Mindshot to the face earlier, like for the most part, he is trading well. He's cleaning this up. Getting away with the solid economy. Do we have that infestation pit, by the way? As the drop comes back in. Oh. Serral getting bamboozled a little bit, and he doesn't care about the drop. Not anymore. He's going across the map. Can he actually overpower his opponent? There are so many mines. Oh, the friendly fire is insane. Maru will lose his bio army. The wall is not a wall. Serral, he busts into the natural. He's losing drones across the map, but the Queens are cleaning up the drop. And Serral, he's broken into the natural. He gets into the mineral line. 22 SCVs go down. And Maru is coming out worse for wear. He even takes down the depots on the high ground. The drops are being cleaned up. And Maru is hurting. Ay, ay, ay. The natural base is on fire. 29 workers went down. And Maru, he's going to be able to clean this up. He's going to be able to hold on, but he's just lost so much. Serral can rebuild. Serral has the economy to rebuild. Maru doesn't. Maru's even supply blocked. He's making 5 depots at a time. Forced to even mule to repair? Not like this. As Maru was just being maybe a little bit too adventurous with the mass drop style. Serral here identified, hold up, if you're being active with 4 medevacs full of Marines, then you probably don't have a lot at home to defend, do you? And the answer was no, he didn't. So, like, correctly identifying just how much supply Maru had in his drops, how little he had at home to defend. Serral, he just threw caution to the wind, shut down one of those drops and just went for a big counterattack. And now Serral is hurting. He's fighting back. He's going for some drop play. He's getting a couple of drones. 4 drones go down. Do we have any Banelings to defend? We should have enough Lings regardless. As Maru's pushing over towards the right-hand side. Widow mines are being cleaned up. That is a pretty committed drop. Maru sending his reinforcements over towards the left. So Maru, he's a little bit desperate here, but in that desperation, he is going to be applying a lot of pressure, a lot of aggression to Serral. As Maru is getting his 4th base back up and running, producing 4 SCVs at a time. Finally, the hive is done. Widow mines are rolling on in. It's a lot of mines. Ooh, a lot of mines that will not get their shots off. Big Baneling connections. And Maru's army gets cleaned up. At the same time, a double drop on the right-hand side. 1 medevac goes down. It was full, by the way. Oh, and yeah, Maru, he's just losing a little bit too much. Again, we said it earlier, he's really desperate right now, and you can see that here. He's just going for these Hail Mary drops across the map, and hey, he's finally getting damaged, to be fair. It's 8 workers, 11 drones even. The natural base is going to go down. 15, 16, 17 drones fall. Maru is fighting back. But is it worth it? That is the question. Is it worth it? Because at the same time, Maru, he can't get his own 3rd up and running. Oof. Medevacs are going down. Serral is cleaning up. And Maru just doesn't have a lot at home. That's the thing. Like, he was pretty all in with that. Oh god, it's on fire. No. No. Papi, repair! No! Not like this! The army's pushing out. Widow mine does not go off. And that orbital is about to burn down. Show us, Papi. It's gonna burn! No! No! It does burn down. And Maru gets knocked down to 3 bases. Oh. GG gets called. And Serral takes a 2-0 lead. Taking down Maru again here in game number 2. 1 game away from advancing on here to the lower bracket finals to face off against Bjorn. Against Serral, he has to rely on 1 matchup. Who's left in the tournament? Terran. Only Terran, Papi. And when it comes to the ZvT matchup, Maru, he has some of the best ZvT in the world. And Serral is looking powerful, Papi. Looking powerful. Oh, Maru, he needs to step away for a moment. Needs a moment to take a breath, go to the bathroom, get some water. We're going to be going on a short break as well. When we return, hopefully Maru is able to recover a little bit, able to reset his mindset, and get into this game 3 and maybe start a comeback. See you soon. And we are back. Again, just a really short break here as Maru needed a little bit of time to just stretch a little bit, get some water. Again, take a moment to look away and reset because the pressure is on Maru. I didn't believe. We've had 3-0s all night, and it could happen again. It could very well happen again. Here we go. We're diving into the game. In the bottom right-hand corner of Neo Humanity, we have the Finnish Zerg player one game away from taking the series. Representing Team Basilisk, it is Serral. And in the top left-hand corner of Neo Humanity, we have its opponent. We have the South Korean Terran player representing Onside Gaming. It is Maru. One game away from elimination. Serral going for a 15-15 opener, 15 hatch into a 15 spawning pool. So Serral, he is trying to counter and trying to read a low ground 2-rax opener. He's trying to read the Beyond opener. It's what happened in game 1, and we saw how Serral was able to snowball out of control with his roach push. We can see that Maru is not going for that low ground 2-rax, which I think is very wise. So something that has been happening in the meta over the past 2 weeks, maybe 3 weeks, is that players have realized, Cure, Beyond, Maru, they've realized that the 2-rax open on Neo Humanity is not worth it. These Roach all-ins are so powerful on Neo Humanity, and to go for a 2-rax opener, to delay your tanks for so long, it's maybe not worth it. And we have seen players like Beyond and Cure and Maru shift away from that on this map specifically and go for more standard openers. So it does make plenty of sense here for Maru to go for a Rax Expand, to go for the Rax on the high ground instead. So yeah, we do see Maru, of course, aware of the advantages of Neo Humanity. He's going to avoid that entirely. Meanwhile, with Serral's opener, I'm curious if he's still going to commit to Roaches. I'm curious if he's going to commit to the attack, because this build specifically does delay your gases. It delays link speed. Again, we saw it in game 1, and we saw it eventually lead into that lair Roach timing. Once Serral recognizes the opener that Maru's going for, that he's going for a Rax Expand, I wonder if Serral is just going to pivot away and just go into Ling Bane again. Or if he's still going to go for Roaches, but more of like a defensive Roach Warren instead. I feel like currently the ball is in Serral's court. What does he go for? As for now, Serral, he's going to be contained to 2 bases. He's going to delay his 3rd base by quite some time, which should lead into Roach play. Meanwhile, Maru, taking advantage of this, is going straight for a 3rd CC. So Maru will have a big economic advantage here, as Serral is still on 2 bases. And will eventually look to expand. As he's just going to be droning on up back at home. Now, what's interesting is that this time, this is not a 3cc 2-1-1. It's a 3cc 1-1-1 instead, which I think is very wise. Considering that Serral is playing 2 base, the likelihood of him going Roaches is very high. So going into fast Banshees is going to be ideal for Maru. Meanwhile, there's a Roach Warren. There's a lair, there's a Roach Warren. So again, just because of the opener, Serral, he kind of is forced to go into this. And he rolled the dice, and it didn't quite roll well for Serral. So I would say in the early game here, Maru has quite a distinct advantage. Again, I'm really curious to see how hard Serral commits to this. And if he does go for a big Roach Queen push across the map. Or if he just uses this to expand and take a 3rd base and take it slow. As Maru, he's just continuing to check to scout the 3rd base location. We can see that Serral is taking his late 3rd over at the linear base, at the linear location instead. Observer is pointing out that we aren't taking the center base, which again, it would be quite difficult to take just because of the Hellions, just because of the map control that Maru has. So Serral's just going for that linear base instead. We do have our first Evo chamber on the way. We're taking additional gases. We're droning. So it does look like, even though Serral, he's rushing into Roach speed, it does look like he's just going to be taking a more defensive position here instead, and he's going to try to catch up economically. But we'll keep our eyes on Serral. As the Overseer goes in, Serral does scout the opener. He does confirm that it was a 3cc 1-1-1. And yep, Serral is going for a longer game. He's just slowly getting into his 3rd base, slowly getting into his 4th. Again, Serral is going to be behind economically, but by going into this infestation bit, it's a risky maneuver, but this should be for infestors. The role of the infestor here in the early game when it comes to roach-based armies is that roaches, they don't have a lot of splash damage, and Marine Marauder, they can annihilate roach armies. It's crazy how well they can trade, but that's where the infestor comes in. That's where fungal growths come in. Oh, sorry, I'm getting ahead of myself. Greedy move out of Serral. He hasn't even saturated his third properly, and he's going straight for the hive. Okay, no infestors. We're going into Link Speed. We're going Roach Ravager, Link Bane. Serral, you have my attention. Oh my god. Serral, he's cutting a lot of corners. He's being very tech-heavy right now. He's taking his fourth base, working on the hive. We'll see if Maru gives Serral breathing room. We'll see if he allows this to happen. We'll see if he does work on his 7-minute push, as just now, Maru can be a little bit more active on the map. He's getting into his production. Ooh, 4 Raxes are on the way. Are we 8-Raxing? We are. We are going for the 8-Rax. 5 Raxes in production. 8 Raxes in total. Maru, I don't think he's planning to take his gases at his third. I don't think he's planning on taking a fourth. I think he's going for a big 3-base all-in. And on Neo-Humanity, this can hit quite hard. That's a lot of Raxes, Papi. That's a lot of Raxes. And Serral is rushing into Ultras. Without Infestors, I don't know if Serral could defend against this. We'll see. It's going to take some time. Serral still has a little bit of time to himself to really establish himself on this side of the map. As Maru is building up his forces, working on 1-1, finally being active with his double drop. Vipers are on the way. Vipers will help. Spellcasters in general are going to be ideal here to defend. Do we have a Baneling Nest? I'm concerned that we don't have any splash damage. I may have missed it, but I'm pretty sure we don't have a Baneling Nest because we don't have Baneling Speed either. So that is a bit concerning. God, Kindness Plating is on the way. Serral is rushing into Ultras. Is this going to work? I'll be so impressed if this does. Ultras in production. Meanwhile, Maru, he's getting ready for his push. 1-1 has now kicked in. As good as 8 Rax is fully operational. We're just waiting for Maru to pull the trigger. Meanwhile, we have 5 Ultras. This Ultra Rush, it's actually going to be out in time. Here we go. The push is coming. The 8 Rax is upon us now. The power of an 8 Rax. It hits so very hard. And because we're on Near Humanity, it doesn't take long for reinforcements. It doesn't take long to rally across the map to reinforce this army. So here we go. It's all or nothing for Maru. Armory just now started. 2-2 is not going to be on the horizon anytime soon. It's going to be on Serral to defend. This center base is going to go down. Vipers have popped out. They do have enough NG for Blinding Clouds. Ultras are out. Kindness Plating is still not done. Serral, he has to be patient. He has to be patient. But the problem is, again, because this map is so small, Maru, he's not giving him room. He's not giving him time. He's already at the natural. He's already knocking down the door of Serral. Here we go. Serral is coming in from behind. We have a full surround. Blinding Clouds are thrown down, and it looks like Serral with the Ultras. He's doing it. He's breaking through. Oh my god. He gets the tanks, but we do have more tanks in the backline. It's still very close here. Can Serral clean this up? Oh, he barely does force this back. He loses every single Ultra, though. He loses the Ultras. There's 1 tank left. Maru, he still has a little bit left in the tank. But Serral is getting out of control. His rush into Hive is actually paying off. These Ultras will get out of control. We have 5 more Ultras on the way. And Maru, again, this is pretty all-in. Like, he doesn't have a next step to this. He doesn't have a fourth. He doesn't have gases. He just now starts +2. The tank goes down. Ultras have arrived. And Serral defends. Oh my god. That was so close as well. That was so clutch. Any sooner and Serral may have died then and there. Like, we saw that he just had to give Maru as much room as he could. He had to wait for Kindness Plating. Ultra Speed just finished. 3 more ultras on the way. Again, there's still a lot of pressure on Maru to get damage double. We can see him falling, dropping in supply. The only thing that Maru has is those medevacs. There's no anti-air for Serral. Until now, we have the power bomb. Good split. Very clutch split there out of Maru. But like he has no other plan here. Like it was do or die for Maru. And with Hive Tech, Serral, he's getting further and further ahead. Working on +3. Now, Maru, he's going to survive here. He's got 2-2 on the way. We'll see if he throws down a 4th. He may just have to pick up his main. He may lift up his main base and take that as his 4th instead. As we do see Serral, he has eyes on the 4th base location. There it is. 4th now gets thrown down very late here for Maru. As again, thankfully, because of the lack of anti-air, Maru, he's able to preserve his units. He's able to drop. He's able to keep Serral back at home. We have a secondary army pushing out on the left-hand side. And Serral, he cannot fight off of creep. Power bombs are going to be a little bit of a nuisance here, and they're going to do a bit of damage to these medevacs. Serral isn't out of this yet. Maru, he's fighting back as hard as he can. He has another army here on the left-hand side. Serral is out of position. Uh-oh. Serral, he's going to be losing a base. This hatchery is going to go down. Maru making some magic happen here. As Serral was not able to keep up. At the same time, though, he goes for his own link counterattack, and he gets 11 SCVs across the map. Oof. Very late reaction out of Maru. He loses an army. So Maru, he may have killed a hatchery, but he also lost a lot of his economy. He lost a lot of his army, and Serral is about to max out with ultras. And I don't know if Maru can hold on. It's going to come down to the Sim City. He's got a couple of Widow Mines. Can he hold, Papi? Can he hold? As Serral is just going to collapse on this position. Big mine shots on the Lings. Again, these deepers are actually working wonders here. The ultras, they can't get on top of the army. They're really struggling. Ultras are going down one after the other, but it looks like there's still too much Zerg. He busts in. He breaks into the 3rd. There's nothing left. It will be a 3-0. GG gets called, and Serral takes the series 3-0, advancing on to the lower bracket finals and eliminating Maru. Wow. GG, well played. Serral, it was such a bold move. Like, okay, there's so much that happened in that game. For Serral to open up 15-15, to roll the dice, to end up behind because it was a regular opener for Maru to go for, for Maru to contain his opponent, and for Serral to have such a late 3rd base as well. And for Serral to go for a massive Hail Mary play, and it was a Hail Mary play, for Serral to go for a very, very fast infestation, a very fast hive going straight into ultras, and the ultras, they came out just in time for the 8 racks. The 8 racks, it appeared just as kindness plating was finishing, just as we had, I think it was 5 ultras out for Serral. That was so close. I'm very curious. I wonder if after the initial openers, after Serral was working on his 3rd, I wonder if he accurately assumed. Obviously, he couldn't scout at the time. There was no way he could scout. No way that he could see what his opponent was doing. I wonder if Serral assumed that because Maru had the advantage, that Maru was going to go for the A-Racks. I wonder if then and there he made the assumption that Maru would do that and was preparing just for that scenario. Because obviously, Serral had so little to work with up until he had those ultras. Like, that was so clutch. Oh my god. Regardless, GG, well played. Congratulations to Serral as he does make it on through. And tomorrow is the finals. Tomorrow we're going to be casting Beyond versus Serral in a best of 5. And then the winner of that series against Cure in a best of 7. Cure is happily waiting in the grand finals. He's been looking so dominant, so powerful in this tournament. We were talking about it. Leading into Gamers 8, Cure was the player to look at, and Cure, he made it all the way to the finals of Gamers 8. He lost only to Raynor in said finals. Now he has another chance. Now he has another finals run in Masters Coliseum. Is it going to be Bjorn? Is it going to be Bjorn or Serral? Look, it's 1 a.m., okay? Is it going to be Bjorn or Serral? Not Cure. I'm just melding all the names together. Who's going to make it to the finals to face off against Cure? It can only be one. And we'll find out tomorrow. We will find out tomorrow. Ay. GG. What a day of StarCraft. And even though we had some 3-0s, what I will say, what I should emphasize is that they weren't all one-sided. We had some really close back and forths as well. Remember Clem versus Maru? Especially on Ancient Cistern, Clem versus Maru was insane. Maru had the greatest comeback there. Maybe spent too much energy on that series, but yeah, it was very big back and forth, very close. Great games, great series. GG, well played. As we get into this, a massive shout out as well to some people in the chat. A lot of love to Shiva Blaster. Thank you so much, Shiva, for gifting a sub to Emperor Fuble and for also gifting a sub to Mr. Sad Sack. Not just, oh my, a lot of subs. Shiva Blaster, calm down, Bobby, calm down. Macrocosm, the Great Red Star, Sergeant Sadsack, and Emperor Fuble. Thank you so much for the gifted subs. We appreciate it. Thank you. All the money that we make here on our channel does go towards our tournaments that we host. Speaking of, we're hosting a tournament tomorrow. If you're interested in how many hours? Let me just double check here. We're going to be live on this channel on the CranKy Ducklings in 9 hours. 9 hours from now, 9 hours from this message. We're going to be casting our own tournament, the Tenacious Turtle Tussle. You may be wondering, what the hell is a turtle? It's tussly and it's tenacious. It is. It is our region-locked tournament for North America, Latin America, Oceania, and Southeast Asia. Basically, every region outside of Europe and Korea. And I know there are a lot of pros in Europe and Korea. I know that there are dominant regions in our scene, but that's why we have our own region-locked tournament to support some of the smaller regions out there and to support some of these other players. So if you're interested, we're going to be live in 9 hours with the Tenacious Turtle Tussle. Again, we feature players like Mia Maika, like Silky, like Trigger, Astrea, Future, for example. Nice as well from Taiwan. So yeah, again, a bit of a different lineup from players, giving them the opportunity to shine and to really thrive and to earn some cash prize money as well. So yeah, we do have that available in 9 hours. We'll see you then. Of course, I'm going to go get some food, get some rest, wake up in time for the next cast because we do nothing but casts, especially over the weekends. After the Tenacious Turtle Tussle, in less than 24 hours, we have the final day of Masters Coliseum. So if you can't tune into one, be sure to be here for the other. It's where we will finally crown a champion for this tournament. So be sure you are there. Otherwise, thank you so much for watching. Thank you so much for your support. A shout out to Kuro for handling the production. Kuro in the dark, behind the scenes, always working very hard. So thank you so much to Kuro. And yeah, we'll see you guys tomorrow for some plenty of StarCraft here. If you want to tune into the CranKy Ducklings, !socials in the chat. We have a Twitter, we have a Facebook, we have an Instagram, we have a YouTube channel, and we have a Discord server as well. So all things CranKy Ducklings if you want to follow us. Otherwise, we'll see you guys tomorrow. Until then, hasta luego. We'll see you guys in 9 hours. Bye.